Greetings everyone, I'm Kevin, and this is my little monthly challenge reading vlog. I am doing the Read the Rainbow thing. So the books I'm going to read for this reading vlog is no surprise if you watched my TBRC for June, where I picked 5 books for different, color prompts. So far, I have only started one book. I have started The Priory of Orange Tree, like you can see on the spine there. I am co-reading this. Is that what it's called? I am buddy reading this with Sunny and Anna on Twitter. I will leave their little handles. I'm sorry, my English brain is not with me today. I'm sorry. The issues or the problems of being multilingual, sometimes the words don't pop up in the right language, But I am around 200 pages into this. The orange tabs are where we're supposed to be. Because this is over 800 pages, we decided that we're going to read 100 pages a day, so we're not kind of like stressing or stuff like that. So I have 100 pages of this that I'm going to read today, but I have to go to the grocery store because I have no food. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna listen to an audiobook, and as I said, I'm not going to bring Priory with me because now I'm reading it physically. So I am instead going to bring Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. And I have this only as an audiobook, so that works out fine for me. And then I will just update you when I'm back home and see how I did with Crazy Rich Asians. Hi, we are now in my kitchen. I have a little issue because I am horrible when it comes to time, and it is now 20 past 4 in the afternoon. Yeah, I had to wait an hour for the bus because the bus only goes once an hour, and I felt like, oh, but I don't have to worry because the bus goes once an hour. Like, I didn't think about how not often that is. But I am back home now. I really do enjoy Crazy Rich Asians so far. Like, I love the fact that we're following so many perspectives and that, like, I really enjoy it so far. They are not yet in Singapore, and Rachel doesn't really know everything about the family yet, so we're getting there. But I really enjoy it so far, and now I am going to make a little dinner and prepare things and stuff because I will be watching the soccer game, both games tonight, because I follow sports. That is not news to anyone who's been following my channel. I pretty much watch any kind of sport that is on the TV, so that is the plan now. So I'm gonna prepare some food and continue with the audiobook. So hi again, it's almost 6 in the evening, so it's 17:50, and I am on chapter 4. I just reached chapter 4 of Crazy Rich Asians. I really enjoy it so far. There is a lot more like a mystery theme to the book rather than the movie. Like, I really love the movie, that's why I picked this book. I know, like, in the movie, of course, everything happens a lot quicker, and you figure things out a lot sooner because it's a movie and it's a limited runtime, But I enjoy that, like, it took me by surprise a little bit that they don't really know Nick's family right away. Rachel is in Singapore. She just was at Nick's grandmother's house that's where they currently are, I should say. She visited her friend from college. They had their high tea and stuff, and her friend and her family had no idea who Nick was or who his family was. In the movie, as soon as Rachel said, yeah, it's Nick Young, they kind of like, they dropped their cutlery and they were like, are you serious? You're dating him? That didn't happen in the book. So instead, it's kind of like a secret. Like, his family is kind of like the secret family, and they own places that don't even show up on the map and stuff like that, and it's kind of like a fun thing that there's this extra mystery element to the book the way that the movie wasn't. So I really enjoyed that. And now, as we said earlier, I am going to stop listening to Crazy Rich Asians for today, and because in 10 minutes it's time for the first soccer game of the evening. I don't really remember what countries are playing. That's usually how it is. I watch all games. I don't care what group it is or what country it is, I'm watching it. If it's Sweden or Germany, of course I'm watching it. But I'm not really as specific, but I watch because I think it's fun. And as I did yesterday, I am going to read this during the game and in the breaks between the game. I don't know why, but that really works for me to have kind of like background noise while reading. Like if I read physically, I do enjoy having that kind of background noise. I'm gonna read it and listen to the game as I go and, focus on two things at the same time. I don't know why that works for me, but it does. So hi, a little update. It is just past 7 in the evening. I read a few more chapters of the Priory of the Orange Tree. I think I read like 3 chapters. I must also say, I was very confused. I had this epiphany that the Priory of the Orange Tree, it's a tree for the fruit orange. It's a tree that grows oranges. I don't know why, but I always, from the first moment, the Priory of the Orange Tree, it's just that the tree is orange. I didn't, that didn't connect in my head. I wanted to talk a little bit about the book and mainly the queendom. I don't really have a lot of thoughts about the other places as it is currently, but the queendom I feel like I have a few issues with. First of all, I don't really feel like it's a society, it's a kingdom or a queendom, is run by women and has been run by women for, generations and centuries. I don't really feel like that. For me, you could have just called it a kingdom and it would be the same. It just happens that the current monarch in that kingdom is a woman. There are a lot of, monarchies in Europe that have historically been run by women, who has had a queen. Great Britain has a queen currently as the highest up royal, and that's kind of the feeling that I get from this kingdom, the kingdom of Enos, that it has this royal family and currently it's a woman. I don't really feel more things that just connect to it being run by women, and I'm not trying to say there should have been more, stereotypical femininity or things like that. I just mean that I think if a queendom, a place run by women, I think it would be different from a kingdom. One thing that really kind of stood out to me about the queendom is the fact that they're trying to find suitors for the queen, and she gets to she just dances, she gets these men go up to her and bow and introduce themselves, and that is something that I just feel I don't know, it doesn't fit a queendom, in my opinion. To me, that whole thing just remind me of all of these, balls that occurred around the world and are still, debutante balls are still a thing in a lot of countries. But historically, there were these big balls just to make women find husbands. Pride and Prejudice, for example, that was the whole point of going to these big balls, because you were supposed to find someone to marry. And that's a little bit the vibes that I got from that whole thing. But I feel for a queendom, it doesn't make as much sense to me that they would kind of put her and have her kind of an exhibit. I feel that's kind of the vibe that I got, that there's her and then people would come up to her and introduce themselves, men would do that, and sure, I don't really feel that different. I think that's the issue that Samantha Shannon put herself through, to be honest. I know that she herself has said that it was difficult to write in matriarchy, and I understand that, because for a lot of us, especially in Europe, we're kind of born into this idea that a man should be at the top. And I feel like what Samantha Shannon did for the Queendom of Enos is just, instead of it being a man, it's a woman. I don't feel like she did any more, structural things, values in the Queendom and stuff like that are not what we in patriarchal monarchies go through. Those are just the thoughts I have currently. I am about just over 200 pages into the book. I will update you when I have more things to talk about. Hi, it is almost 10 in the night. I should have been asleep for like past hour or something. I'm very tired, but I just finished chapter 27 or 26. I don't remember which one. Either I finished chapter 26 and I am now starting 27, or I'm too tired to check. I'm sorry. But the only update I want to give, things are happening. Things are going down, and it feels honestly very, very strange that, when you look at a book and you see that, oh, I am 100 chapters in, and it feels like you've made such a dent in your reading and you don't have that many 100 pages left. And now just filling in that I've read 200 pages on Goodreads and it's 30% read feels very weird. Very, very weird. But I have now read 300 pages. Things are happening at the Queendom. I don't want to spoil anything. I'm just saying that if you're reading this book and you're getting closer to chapter 26, you can prepare for things to happen. And now I feel like I want to continue reading. I want to know what is going to happen next. Like, I want to know the consequences of the thing, and also learn like how will everyone react. And the chapter ended on kind of like a cliffhanger, and I want to know. And just a funny thing, I just out of curiosity, I felt like, the word queendom, I had like a big rant about this earlier, as you know, I kind of obsessed. But I just felt like, how would people translate queendom? Like, how would it work in other languages? And I can just like speak from my own languages. Like, I guess in Swedish you could say drottningarike or drottningadöme. I think both they work, but I still think they sound kind of awkward. But I mean, like, kingdom in Swedish is kungarike and kungadöme. So, I mean, it's almost the same amount of, syllables for queendom in Swedish and kingdom in Swedish. And then I just thought about like German, like how would it be in German? And then I found out that there is actually German translations of The Priory of the Orange Tree. The only thing is, it's separated into 2 books. I didn't know that. So at first when I found the book, I don't remember like specifically what the title was, and then something. I know it's not like, or it doesn't have orange tree, it's something else. I don't really remember specifically, but the cover was blue with a yellow dragon. I was like, that looks cool. And then it said like Königin or Die Königin, which is the queen. And then there was another one that said the magician. I think it was the magician or just magic, something to do with magic. And I was just like, why is it 2 different, like which of these? Because Königin was the blue cover and magic, and the other one that says magic, it was yellow, like it looks exactly like the normal cover, yellow cover, blue dragon. Then I found out that it's actually in German, it's a duology. They split the book in 2, so it's 2 books that are 400 pages each instead of 1 book that is 800 pages long. And that makes sense. Like that makes total sense, like to have it multiple. So I guess if I had read this book in German, I could count 2 books. Instead of 800 pages for 1, it would be 800 pages for 2 books. In German, they did translate queendom into Königinnenreich, so it works. I was just very, confused because I think in some countries it wouldn't Like that's kind of like what I felt with German, because queen is like the words king and queen in German is König, king, Königin, queen. That queen is just, that to say that this is a woman who is the ruler, you add a little, like, you add two letters at the end, because also the queen doesn't marry a king, she marries princess. It's like you have, for example, in Great Britain currently, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. Prince Philip married the queen and thus became a prince. A queen doesn't have a king. And so because of that, I felt like maybe they're going to change the word queen. Maybe they will invent another word for queen, just so that it isn't, patriarchal way that it is currently, like König, king, Königin, queen. That by saying Königinnenreich means that it's like female kingdom, kind of, if you understand what I mean. And so because of that, I felt like maybe they're going to change it, because having a Königin means that there has to be a König, But as I said, if you're a queen, you're highest up on the food chain, you don't marry a king, you marry a prince. Or the person you marry will become a prince, rather. I just thought that was interesting, and I know that that can be extremely tricky for the translators, and I don't know how it worked in other languages. Like, I don't know if it was translated into other languages. Also, I don't understand other than English, German, and Swedish, so I can't really tell. A French translation of this book, I would not understand how they handled translating queendom. And I think, like, probably a lot of you have noticed that I kind of slip when I'm trying to say queendom. I just automatically want to say kingdom, because I'm so used to saying kingdom that it's not, like, I don't think about it being a kingdom. I just think of, like, kingdom being like royal country, realm, I never really thought about it as that it's kingdom because it's a king at the top. I mean, it's the same in Swedish, so I do know like that, but I'm trying to correct myself whenever I slip and want to say kingdom when it should be queendom. But anyways, those are my final thoughts of the day from a tired Kevin. I will talk to you tomorrow, and hopefully I will finish Crazy Rich Asians. That's my goal for tomorrow. Good morning. It's Monday morning right now, and today is a historic day because for the first time in Swedish history we do no longer have a prime minister. Our big government, parliament called Riksdag, they voted against our prime minister and thus removed him from his seat. And yeah, so we are currently in a governmental crisis because we no longer have that, and it's perfect timing because next year we have the election anyways. So, but yeah, so now we don't have a prime minister, okay, which means that horrible parties can seize power, and we'll see what the fuck is going to happen. But yeah, that is kind of like how my morning was, just following the news and just finding out what is going to happen to this country. But everything is pretty much in chaos right now. I'm just going to stay away from the news. That's the plan. I'm gonna do some more reading. I don't know if I'm going to start with Priory and read a few chapters of that and then do Crazy Rich Asians. So I think I can start out with Crazy Rich Asians. Okay, I just realized yesterday when I read Priory, it ended on a cliffhanger, and I'm going to start with Priory because I do need to know what is going to happen. I am this far into the book. It doesn't look like much, but when you see the page count, it's like, oh my god, that's a lot. But I am, as I said yesterday, I am a little bit over 300 pages into it. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start Priory, find out what is going to happen as consequences to the thing that I mentioned yesterday that I don't want to spoil for anyone. But yeah, I'm gonna start off with Priory, and I will update you when I have more thoughts and feelings. Hi, a little update. It is 3 o'clock sharp, so 3 in the afternoon. I am over halfway into Priory of the Orange Tree, and as I said earlier, things are really starting to pick up. A lot of things are happening, a lot of things are going down, and I have just passed like 50% mark on this book. And if a lot of things are already happening, like how is this supposed to end? Because I am pretty sure, that it will, the big climax is usually around like 80-75%, so very much closer to the end than I am currently. So I am very intrigued to see what is going to happen, So I am going to put Priory aside and start reading Crazy Rich Asians now, and I will see how far I can get. The studio before the first football game today is in 2 hours, in exactly 2 hours, and of course I am going to be watching the soccer games. So I have 2 hours that I have like completely free and that I can absolutely read for. So that is the plan, to read Crazy Rich Asians now, and so that is the big plan now, and I will update you with my thoughts on Crazy Rich Asians. Hi, it is 20:08 in the evening, 8 sharp almost. I have not finished either of the books, so even though I hoped to finish Crazy Rich Asians, I have not. I am around 60% into the book. They just had the bachelorette and bachelor parties, so that's kind of like where I'm at. I do enjoy it so far. There are a few chapters that I'm a little bit confused about, but only because those chapters I didn't expect to read those chapters, and these chapters are kind of like giving background information to the rich families in Singapore, and that wasn't part of the movie, and that I've only seen the movie. Like, I'm reading Crazy Rich Asians for TBRC. I got the punishment prompt book that was turned into a favorite movie. And the reason that was a punishment is because maybe the book would ruin the movie, maybe, things like that. So I chose Crazy Rich Asians. So far, I really enjoy it. It's just that some things take me by surprise. That's what I want to say. Like, a few things really surprised me because I'm like, wait, this, I don't recognize this, And so that is kind of like a little bit, interesting because I did not expect those things. But that's kind of where I'm at. I haven't done any more reading of Priory since I last talked to you. But for now, I'm just hoping that I can finish Crazy Rich Asians tomorrow, start a new book. But good night for now, and I will see all of you tomorrow. Good morning. It is almost 12 in the morning. It's Tuesday today. I just finished filming today's video, which is another Child of Toxic Parents video, and that video will be up before you even see this. So I just wanted to give an update also about the book Crazy Rich Asians. I did continue reading yesterday. Like, I couldn't really sleep, so I decided, hey, why not continue reading? So I read a few more chapters. They just, like, the wedding just happened, and Rachel and Nick just ran into Nick's, I don't want to say ex. I don't know if she's an ex, but the first girl that Nick ever kissed, they ran into her. And we just kind of met Eleanor Young, which is Nick's mom. Something that I do really like about the book is that we see all of these perspectives and all of these characters, and also like the whole thing of being rich in Singapore, what it's like to be a daughter of a rich family when there is also a son, and like who inherits what and stuff like that. And I think the whole culture thing is very interesting to learn about. And there's one thing that I really like reacted to yesterday that I hadn't thought about before, is that the movie Crazy Rich Asians I would definitely refer to as a rom-com. It's a romantic comedy, but the relationship between Nick and Rachel isn't like at the center of the book, in my opinion. Like we get so many different perspectives and different, like, this book I would say is more a contemporary book rather than a rom-com, and this book is more about the title Crazy Rich Asians. This is more about that and what it's like being rich in Asia, being rich in Singapore, and those kind of culture things and culture shocks that Rachel go through, seeing all of the colonial things that are still living in that country, in Singapore, and how many things that these people have adopted from different cultures, especially the Great Britain. So I think the book is more a contemporary story about Crazy Rich Asians, while the movie is more about Rachel's relationship with Nick and his relationship to his family and Rachel. So that is just something that kind of stuck out to me yesterday, that I wouldn't say that the movie and the book has the same genre. I don't see any issue. Like, I do really enjoy the book. I think it's very interesting, and I love all the different perspectives and learning all of this about both the history of Singapore and the history of the families, and how it's kind of like a spider web of a lot of different things, and Nick's childhood, and a lot of like different aspects to the culture and to the country and to the families. I really enjoyed that, but I just thought that was very interesting that a movie that I consider a rom-com and the book it's based on is not something that I would consider a rom-com. I just thought that was interesting, but I still, as I said, I really enjoyed the book. So now I am going to continue reading and editing the video, and I will update you when I get a little bit further. I am around 75% into Crazy Rich Asians, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I will finish it today. Hi, it's just 5:03 the evening. I just finished Crazy Rich Asians, so I have the first book done for this vlog. So Crazy Rich Asians, as I said earlier, is for orange, the prompt orange, and as you saw, I gave the book 3 stars. Like, I thought for a while, should I give it 3 stars or should I give it 4 stars? And then the whole thing came down to the fact that would I reread the book? No. Okay, then it's not a 4 star. I did really enjoy the book. I'm happy I read the book. And if I would ever have to choose between the book and the movie, I'm gonna choose the movie. I just really enjoyed the movie more, but I did like the book, and as I said, I'm happy I read it, but nothing more than that, really. I do, however, feel like I really want to watch the movie, so, like, that's kind of my takeaway from this experience with this specific book, that I just really want to watch the movie right now. But now I'm gonna continue reading Priory and read the 100 pages left of that one. I am not going to watch soccer tonight, so I have like the rest of the day to reading Priory, and then I'll see if I will start another book too or not. I haven't decided yet, but the plan right now, read Priory of the Orange Tree, and then I will update you with how that's going, with my thoughts and stuff like that, as always. Hi. So I'm just a little over 500 pages into Priory of the Orange Tree on chapter 48, where I'm gonna start chapter 48 to be exact. Things are happening, and I think that's like exciting. I think so far the character that I enjoyed the most is Eid. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name. And like, she's the most exciting character currently, and I do enjoy Nicolas, what is happening with him too. I don't really know them much more with the different characters because I don't really remember. Like, I have a difficult time telling them apart, but those two really stand out to me, and I enjoy like it's intriguing where it's going right now. But I decided that I'm gonna take a break from reading for the rest of today. And then I felt like maybe I could start another book, but then I realized that it's after 6 in the evening. So I decided to just put Priory aside, and I'm gonna make some dinner, and then I'm gonna watch a movie or something like that. So good night for now, and I will talk to you in a little bit for you. But good night. Hi, good morning. It's 12, but I promise I've been awake for a lot longer than that. I have just had to do a lot of like chores at home, stuff like that, you know, the usual. And then I just kind of ended up in a YouTube loophole. It's not a loophole, wait, what is it? What is it called when you're like, you get stuck and you just continue to, I don't remember. I don't know why I thought it was a loophole. Loopholes is kind of like when you're not supposed to do something, but then you find a way around that. I didn't end up in a loophole. I ended up in quicksand. I don't know what what is called. You know what I mean, I hope. But that's kind of like, I ended up just like watching YouTube and time flew away from me. So it's 12 currently. I just felt like I wanted to go through, like as I said yesterday, I ended up over 500 pages. I have 300 pages left of this book, so that's nice. And I will read the next 100 pages today and like just continue with that. So I'm gonna read 100 pages of Priory. Also, like, can we talk about this, what it looks like underneath the dust jacket? I don't really know how I feel about this. I know that this is the dragon and the tower. Like, as you can see, the dragon and the tower is these two colors are the dragon and the tower. I don't know how well you could see that, but it's kind of like dark blue and dark red, which are these two colors. Like, I would have loved if this was the yellow and the orange instead. Like, I don't really have thoughts on this. I just think it's always like weird to me when those two are two different colors. But I love the spine. Like, this looks gorgeous. To have like it's beautiful. Like, I love silver, so it could be that. But anyways, I am over 500 pages into this book. I am going to read the next 100 pages today. And as you know, I finished Crazy Rich Asians yesterday, gave it 3 stars. And now is kind of like a point where I feel like I kind of wish I gave half stars. The reason I do not give out half stars is because I'm a teacher, and in Swedish school, we're not allowed to give like half grades. Like in the US, you have like, you can give A+, you can give C-, you can give grades like that. We don't have that. We have the A to F system just as the US. The difference is that we don't give pluses or minuses, and we have the grade E, which in the US you don't have the grade E from what I understand. But we have grade E is just passing, D is passing, between passing and well done, and then C is well done, and A is pretty much perfection. Like you can't get better than an A, but we don't have, like, if you're between an A and a B, you can't get a B+ or an A-. You have to get a specific grade. Like, we're not allowed to give something between 2 grades. So that's why I don't give out half stars, because I'm kind of like ingrained in that system of our, grade system as a teacher, that half stars don't count. Like, I can tell a student, like, you're between an A and a B, that doesn't, like, but you're getting a B because you haven't fulfilled A. I can't say, like, you get a B+. I'm not allowed to do that as a teacher. So I have to say, you get a B, but if you keep working, you might get an A. Like, I can say that, but I'm not allowed to, as I said, give something between 2 grades. An A-, a B+, I'm not allowed. So that's why I don't give out half stars, because, as I said, I'm ingrained in that system that it's one or another. Like, you can't give something between. So I'm not allowed to give out half stars. But I feel like if I would allow myself to give out half stars, I would give Crazy Rich Asians 3.5 stars. I think what really was the problem for me is that I know the movie so well. Like, I watched the movie at least 10 times since it came out. So, like, the movie, I can tell you, like, almost scene by scene of the movie. I had expectations for the book that were unrealistic, because of course a lot of things had to be taken out in like for a movie. Like there are just a lot of things that you can't have from a book taken into a movie. But that's just like, but anyways, I finished Crazy Rich Asians yesterday, so let's move on to the next 3 books that I have. So as I said, I'm in the middle of Priory. I'm about reading it, so it's 100 pages a day. And then the next books that I have this time will be different for the prompt red, because I consider this book to be red and not pink. Like it's too red for me to be pink. So I have this book for red, and for Dokkaebi RC this was floral cover, because on the back it has floral, which I think this is really beautiful. Like this yellow, I would love to have this just as a pattern on kind of like what is that called fabric that you put on a table. It's bothering me, I can't come up with the name of it, but you know what I mean. I hope like you have a fabric or something that you put on a table and kind of like beautiful thing, or maybe curtains. Like this would be beautiful as a curtain too. Like I really enjoy this. Yellow is my favorite color, so I really think it's beautiful like this. But this was red, a red cover. Then we have blue cover, which is Dokkaebi Vicious Spirits by Cat Show. This was for the prompt set in East Asia, I think, or no, set in Asia. Maybe it was just set something like that for Dokkaebi RC, but I picked this for set in Asia and blue. And this is the companion novel to Gumiho, which is Wicked Fox. Gumiho Wicked Fox, also by Cat Show, of course. And with Gumiho, it was a miss for me, unfortunately. And the thing is about Gumiho Wicked Fox, I read this for Valentine's Day, like you can see that up there, I guess. And it had this line just like between I think it was just like where this one is or above, I don't remember. But that line was a teaser. Like I thought it was a teaser, and the way that it was, I was just like, oh, this is extremely like interesting, like that. Just that line could be an entire K-drama. And I heard that these books by Cat Show, Gumiho and Dokkaebi, are both like very, if you love K-dramas, you will enjoy the books, kind of. So with that line, I was like, oh my god, this sounds really intriguing. I'm really interested to find out how this will go. And then like 100 pages in, I was like, when it's gonna happen? 200 pages in, like when it's gonna happen? 300 pages in, I was just like sitting, waiting for that thing to happen, because since it was on the first page, it had to have like a big role in the book. But then towards the end, I was like, okay, so that wasn't a teaser, it was a spoiler, because it was spoiling the end, and it gave me unrealistic expectations of the book, because I thought that that sentence would have a bigger role in the book than it had. So I just ended up like at the end just feeling like I waited for like the entire book, I waited for that thing to happen, that I just got frustrated, like when is it gonna happen, you know? I think if I would reread it, I would probably enjoy it a lot more, because now I know what to expect. And so with this one, I decided I'm not gonna read the synopsis on the back. I'm just going to like completely ignore that, and everything I would go on is Dokkaebi Vicious Spirits. All I know is that this has to do with Korean mythology, just as Gumiho Wicked Fox, and I don't really know Vicious Spirits. I don't know what that is in Korean mythology. I also know that this is set in South Korea. I assume it's set in, I shouldn't watch. I just realized I shouldn't look at the back. But I think this is set in Korea. The other one was set in South Korea, so I guess this is also set in South Korea. Like, I don't know if it's an alternate world where North Korea and South Korea is just Korea again. I don't know. Like, that's why I don't want to really specify. But that one, I think, was in Seoul, which is the capital of South Korea. So I think this is on the Korean peninsula, we can say that at least. So I am excited to read this. I love K-dramas, which was kind of how I got into this series in the first place. That's kind of like, yeah, so I am excited to get to this. And as I said, we have Blue. And then the last book on my Reading the Rainbow TBR is Meet Cute Club by Jack Harbin, and this is obviously for the prompt pink. And this is the only book on this TBR that wasn't chosen by Dokkaebi RC. like for YetiBRC, I think I had 11 books for this month, and then because I made it like a thing to pick 5 books specifically for the monthly challenge, yeah, I could only pick 4 through YetiBRC, so I decided I'm gonna pick a 5th one that is not through YetiBRC, and I chose Meet Cute Club, which is a male romance that has to do with this book club called Meet Cute Club, and I think one of them is a librarian or in charge of the book club. This is the 3rd book. It's a male romance, as I said. It would be absolutely fantastic if I would get into another romance, you know? So I have these 3 books to choose between for today. So one of these books I'm going to read together with Priory. So I'm gonna read 100 pages of Priory, and then I'm going to choose one of these. I don't really know which one I'm gonna go with first. I mean, like, I would love to read Meet Cute Club because it's relatively short compared to these. Like, look, it's relatively short compared to these, especially Dokkaebi is kind of big. Oh, okay. This I love. It has content warnings. I'm just gonna like read the content warnings for all of you in case this book was interesting. And it says, I think it's super important to be aware of what you're consuming, and it's never my goal to trade my reader's safety for an unexpected twist or shocking moment. Love that. Because of that, I feel it's necessary to include a list of possible trigger warning or possible triggering content that could potentially upset readers. If you want to go into this story without any warnings, you're more than welcome to skip this page. This is something like I wish more content warnings would be like this. And I think there is this conversation today about, oh my God, what is that called? The story graph, that it's, with the content warnings. I think a great way to get rid of like the problematic part of like trigger warnings, I think it would be a lot better if everyone could just, if you put in a trigger warning, you have to comment what did this look like. This is a great way to do content warnings, to just like, if you don't want to read them, skip. And the content warnings for this book is alcohol and or drug use abuse, mentions of child neglect, mentions of homophobia, on-page sex scenes. And I think also with these 4, you can question like, are they content warnings or not? And I think it's better to write content warnings in case than not. But I also know like it's a system that is abused. So I think it's a lot better if the authors write the content warnings themselves. That for every book on Goodreads or Storygraph, the author themselves are the only ones who can write in content warning. I think that would be a lot better because the author should be the ones controlling what gets out in case of content warnings. But today unfortunately, I have 2 football games that I have to watch. So it's Sweden's last game before the playoffs, the finals. To get to the final, there are 4, like there is the semifinal, the quarterfinal, and then the one before the quarterfinals, which we call the 8th final, åttondelsfinal. I don't know the English word for that, but we have that for Sweden, and then after the Swedish game, we have that for Germany. So I have like the last game for Sweden and for Germany today. So that is like 4 hours just taken away from the day to go to me watching sports. I love that for me. But that also means that I won't have as much time for reading. So because of that, I think I'm gonna start Meet Cute Club because this is shorter. It is less than 300 pages. It is 230 pages long. So I'm gonna read this and read 100 pages of Priory and read as much as I can from this. Hi. So, exciting news. I just got post delivery and I got like a notice. I don't know what it's called in English, I'm sorry. But it's to go to the nearest postal office. I don't know what it's called. Because it says package to you. So I'm gonna go pick up this package because it is bookish and I'm gonna show you what I got. So hi, I just came back and here we have the package. So let's just open it. At first, I like when while I picked it up, I felt kind of like I shouldn't do an unboxing because it would kind of spoil my Olympics-a-thon TBR announcement. But then I realized like the Olympics-a-thon TBR announcement will be before this video comes out, so like it's not a spoiler. And this was kind of like my graduation present for myself. And let's see what they look like. So here it is. Obviously, or probably guessed that this is Hunger Games. Okay, so this is what it looks like from the back, and this is what it looks like from the front. I bought this secondhand from Media Mobs. We have the first book, Tadische Spiele, which is the first Hunger Games book. I think this is beautiful, and it's like gold. And then it has orange inside to match the box. But I like that. And this also, if you didn't know, the German editions, like this is a anniversary edition. I have the anniversary edition of the Hunger Games books in English, and now I have them in German too. And in Hunger Games, like if you watch the old, or really like all the covers, or the majority of the covers in German for Hunger Games, it has leaves on them. So instead of like this symbol, there's usually like leaves, and so they have leaves. That's why there are leaves on this one. So this is the first one, and Tadische Spiele, definitely games. And then we have the second book, which is Gefährliche Liebe, which is dangerous love, and this also has like in gold. And then the last one is Flammender Zorn, which is flaming anger, kind of. So this is what that looks like. The three books together make this. What they look like together. I think it's beautiful. And then I guess that this hole here is for, I'm gonna say like if I put them together, it should probably be this that it shows. So we're putting them back. So this is what it looks like now that it's in order. I like with the like the gold and the orange. I think it's beautiful. And then on the side we have that little thing. So I'm going to read these 3 books for Olympics-a-thon. You will, like as I said, like you've already, like that video is already up, so you will know why I decided to read these 3 books in particular for Olympics-a-thon. Yeah, but I'm really happy to have these books in German, and I'm really excited to read the books in German. I've never read Hunger Games in another language than English, but I just thought that these were just so incredibly gorgeous that I felt like I have to have these. So yeah. And a funny thing for me, like with Hunger Games, is that I was never really a fan of Hunger Games before I decided like, hey, I'm gonna read Hunger Games. And I think I decided that in early 2020, I think maybe 2019, but I just decided, hey, I have nothing to read, and like, hey, why not read Hunger Games? So I read Hunger Games and I was like, oh my god, these books are great. And so that's kind of like how I got into Hunger Games 10 years after they were kind of made. So I was a little bit late to the party, but I really love Hunger Games, the books, a lot more than the movies. I think the second movie is the best movie, and I know that I'm not alone in thinking that, but like I would pick the books over the movies. I'm really excited. Like now I have this, and now I can do my Olympics-a-thon TBR video. But I have 2.5 hours left before the first game, which is Sweden against Poland. So I can read until then, and it's on channel 4. So it's on channel 4, which means that it has like commercial breaks. If it's on our Swedish channels, which is SVT, which is Swedish television, there are no channels and there are no commercial breaks. But for channel 4, it has commercial breaks. So my plan is to read this in commercial breaks, and I'm gonna read the next 100 pages of Priory now, like finish those pages. I think I have 50 pages left until that point. And then I will read this, I will begin this, and I will read this in commercial breaks and everything. I'm gonna get back to reading, and I will update you about what is happening in Priory, and like, is it gonna be another like, oh my god moment? Things like that. Hi, I know I haven't updated in a while. It's like 9 in the evening now. So I watched all of Sweden's game. It was very stressful and very, yeah, it was very stressful. Like, you really didn't know like who was gonna win, who was gonna lose. We had a lead at 2-0, and then Poland reduced and changed the whole score to 2-2. And then 1 minute before the end of the game, Sweden made the winning goal, and the game ended at 3-2. And now I'm sitting here and I have like a few minutes, and then it's Germany's turn, and Germany's playing Hungary. So I'm gonna like watch Germany's game now, which I guess won't be over until 11 p.m. So I'm gonna stay up way past my bedtime. But I wanted to give you a brief update about Meet Cute Club. I really adore this. I am 2 chapters in, but like honestly, I really love this. Like, I really enjoyed this from the first page. Like, I really enjoyed this. The characters are awesome. We are just starting with, like, both characters just got to the book club, which is the Meet Cute Club. And they're reading, like, romance novels. And this guy, Rex, he worked at the bookstore where Jordan, who is running the book club, he went there to that bookstore. He's a regular, and he bought 18 books, I think. He bought several books, and he bought multiple copies to everyone in the book club. And all of the books that he got were romance. And Rhett, who was, as I said, the cashier, kind of like made fun of Jordan, like, who is reading romance, like that's only for old ladies, and Jordan just got pissed off, and that encounter wasn't that nice. But then Red ends up at Jordan's place and is like, I was curious about the books that you picked up, so I bought all of them, and I'm actually enjoying this book that I'm reading. Jordan is really like, you're messing with me, right? Like, you're not serious. Like, you are not seriously joining my book club for romance novels. But Red is like, yeah, I want to. And so, because Jordan has seen a lot of, like, unfortunately, people in this book club have, for one reason or another, left the book club, and no one has really taken their places. So Jordan was like, I can't not invite Rex to be part of the book club, because he needs more people in the book club to keep it running. Like, if it's not enough people in the book club, like, he can't keep it up. But so now that Rex just ended up like, yeah, I want to read these romance books too, that just adds another person to become a member of the book club. So Jordan kind of had to invite Rex in, and like that's where the second chapter ends, and that's kind of like where I'm at currently. But as I said, like, I really enjoyed this so far. I think it's really fun, and I really like it. I've only read 2 chapters, but I feel like I'm hooked and I want to read more. But right now I'm just, as I said, I'm gonna watch Germany's game against Hungary, and hopefully it will be like a nice game and we will win, score a lot and stuff like that. But yeah, but that is just like a last update of the day. I read the 100 chapters. Like, that would have been something if I read 100 chapters, but I read 100 pages of Priory of the Orange Tree. I don't really have any thoughts or any things that I can say that aren't spoilers. I like where the story is going. I still like Eid is the one that I enjoyed the most. I don't really have anything more to say about Priory. And then, as I just said, like, this book, absolutely fantastic. After the game is done, I'm just gonna go to bed. We'll see if I will read another chapter within, like, the break between the periods, because in soccer there are only 2 periods, 45 minutes each. But yeah, so that is it for today, and I will update all of you tomorrow. So, good night.